So here's a little bit of a walkthrough for Phillips Island. Lap times are still a little bit of a work in progress. Haven't run here since last season. Probably expecting to get down another second or so with a little bit more practice. First set of laps I did was running just a Watkins Glen setup. I didn't have anything made for this track yet. Only 17.5 front wing, aero balance like 43.5%. Second set of laps down here, 23 front wing I think, was the Daytona 07 Moto setup from the very beginning of the season that Will Sutton did. Lap time's pretty close, only a couple of tenths apart, but the two drive pretty differently. I was ultimately a little quicker with the low downforce, but the higher downforce set is definitely more forgiving for anybody that's still learning the track or having any difficulties. Higher downforce definitely keep you planted a lot better through a couple of the turns. So I will show an onboard lap and kind of talk through what I did here. So this is coming onto the main straight. This is going to be all flat out. Run down to turn one. Typically you're going to want to start over on the left along this curb here. And it's going to be flat out across here. Sometimes a passing opportunity into turn two here. Going to just drag the brakes slightly and go down 2 gears into fourth. Kind of stick towards the middle of the track. I usually don't try to track all the way out, just so I don't run off. And you see there, I'm off throttle for a bit, and then I just gradually get back onto throttle. Sometimes you'll modulate the throttle here to prevent oversteer. It's real easy to lose the car at this point on the track. Back on the throttle, flat out, up to 6th gear. Gonna look for right around this 100 marker, maybe right before it, is where you're gonna start to brake. Down to 2nd gear, through that, through the hairpin. I think that's the Honda corner there. The end of this curb here is approximately where I'm going to brake, down into 2nd or 3rd. Either one seems to work fairly well. You want to get a good run out of this corner, but be careful not to run off onto this outer curb here. Easy to hit that gravel and lose it, and you also don't want to loop it there. You got to get hard on the power there for the run up the hill here. For this corner, I like to usually blip the brakes just a tiny bit and shift down into 5th. With a higher downforce setting, it's just turn in earlier and pretty much hold 6th gear. But you'll see here, I just stab the brakes ever so slightly and then go into 5th gear. Right here at the crest, if you're not careful, with a bad setup, you'll start to drift wide. Get on the brakes almost as soon as you go over the crest. Brakes are only about halfway. You're not too hard on the brakes. You don't want to lock up going down the hill. Get turned in for this right-hander. And from this point here, I'm going to aim for this inside curb. I'm already starting to turn in. And I should be flat out from here all the way down to turn 2. A little bit of lift there, but normally that'll be flat. If it's the higher downforce setting, that's definitely flat. This one has 17.5 front wing, and it'll normally in a race I'll probably run, I think, around 19. I think I'm a little bit lower downforce than I would like to be, but I just did it for practice. And I should be a little closer to that inside curb there. Still working on getting my line down properly through turn 2. One thing with this corner here, you get on, it's so tight and the steering radius is pretty extreme. Getting back on the power, be careful to unwind the car to the left. You don't want to get too hard on the power and on the throttle while you're steering heavily at the same time. You want to kind of get steering to the left to run out along this this side here. You can see at the top of the hill there, it just kind of carries to the right. Bit of understeer right at the crest. And here's a lap with a little bit higher downforce setting. And it should be a lot closer to that inside left curb there. That's probably costing me, I'm going to guess, about a half a second or at least a quarter second running down to the hairpin here. In this lap I just lifted a little, stayed in 6th gear, but it still carries at the top of the hill, likes to kind of carry to the right. So that's a couple of laps. Hopefully that helps some people. Update later in the week as I get a little bit more pace, see what I'm doing differently.